And we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're having a good one today. I'm the movie ranker, and yeah, I decided to go live. I don't do it very often, but the reason why I'm doing this is because I was going to do my top anticipated movies of 2024. And, well, I forgot to turn off my ringtone just a second before that bugs me. All right. And I was looking at all the new movies going to be released in 2024, and I couldn't believe how many franchise movies there is. There's almost every movie by a big studio is either a sequel, a remake, or a part of a franchise, whether it be a spin-off or whatnot. It is crazy. So I said, why not just make this live and kind of go over some of those movies? And I'll still mention the movies that I'm most looking forward to. Let's talk with the chat real quick first. We got Ledger Forever. What's up, man? Hit that like button. Yeah, for sure. Thanks for being here. We got Film Kid. Great to see you doing a live streaming again. Yeah, it's been a while. I don't do them too often. Quick question: the Prestige, or Oppenheimer? Oof, maybe Oppenheimer for me. I don't know. It's tough. They're both not on the top of my Nolan list. But yeah, I appreciate both films. It's just the Prestige. I found not all the twists work for me, but I have to rewatch that one. It's been a long time. But right now, I'd say Oppenheimer just by a little bit. But yeah, they're not my favorite Nolan films. I much prefer Memento and The Dark Knight, movies like that. You're finally alive again. Great to have you as a guest, part of the big ranking. I'm working my way through Wes Anderson right now and hopefully going to release the ranking. Yes, I was just about to announce that I am going to be a part of a huge ranking with Ledger Forever, Film Kid, uh, Hasta La Pizza, and Joe Lewis. I think it's the names. Sorry if I screw them up. I'm kind of on the spot right here. But yeah, we're doing a huge action ranking. John Wick, The Expendables, the Bond films, Daniel Craig era. We're doing the Rambos and the Mission Impossibles. It's going to be a blast. I'm starting to put together my list, and it's a tough one to do. Hopefully, you guys aren't going to be annoyed by that train going by right now. But Wes Anderson, yeah, I haven't watched too many of his films. They definitely have a certain style. Friggin' train, worst timing ever. Hey, Jason from Backtrack Cinema, how's it going? We're talking about the films of the future, and you always talk about the films of the past. A little different today. Thiago Pena. Hey, movie ranker, what's your favorite dinosaur movie? Well, that's easy. Jurassic Park, the first original Jurassic Park film. But yeah, guys, we're going to get into it. I found a few lists on IMDb with just upcoming sequels and just upcoming 2024 releases, which I think would be a good idea to go over and share the screen with you guys. Yes, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is in my top movies. Maybe not my number one. It's definitely up there, like top 3 for 2024. We're gonna talk about that. My most anticipated might be Alien Romulus, or however you say that. Just because, man, I love the Alien franchise. My top 4 on Letterboxd has drastically changed now. My favorite movie is Seven. My second favorite is Scarface, then RoboCop, and then Heat. Great picks, man. All great movies. It's been a while since I watched Heat, like way too long. Yeah, so just a sec here. Get this. And here we go. Look at this, starting with, oh wait, I want to put myself on the screen here. There we go. All right, starting with Deadpool 3. That's one of the bigger movies too of 2024. Of course, we've seen all the photos of Hugh Jackman on set as Wolverine, which is really cool. I have faith in this. It's the MCU, Marvel has kind of tarnished their name as a brand. They're kind of mediocre nowadays, but I feel like Deadpool 3 will stay in the vein of Deadpool's, where they're all pretty high quality with the R rating and everything. I'm pretty sure this is an R rating. I hope so. Anyway, So I'm pretty excited for this. They announced well, I see Jennifer Garner is even in the cast here, which is cool. She's coming back as Elektra, and I heard so many other names are coming back, but I don't know if a lot of them are just rumors or not. Um, See, the next movie on the list is Madam Web, which I don't really have any I'm not really looking forward to that movie at all. The trailer did nothing for me. I enjoy the Spider-Man movies in this, but I don't know anything about Madam Web. Dakota Johnson, she's great in the Peanut Butter Falcon if you've seen that, but yeah, this movie doesn't really seem like it's going to do anything for me, not by the trailer anyway. Um, After you're done live stream, I'm going to watch The Life Aquatic. I never seen that one. Sounds interesting. Deadpool 3 and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes are my most anticipated. The Alien movie would be higher, especially since of the first two, but then yeah, I'm still going in with a pinch of salt, let's say, for Alien. It may not be great, but I'm excited for it just because it's a new Alien movie. I'm always excited. Just like when we had Prey the other year, I was so excited for that to come out because I'm a big fan of Predator and Alien. But yeah, those Deadpool 3 and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes are definitely high on my list. Um, let's go back to this. I wish I could see the chat while I was in there. I might have to use my phone for that. But Venom, untitled Venom sequel. I don't know. I guess it says 2024. It's still filming though. I don't know if it'll actually be out this year or only in 2025. The first two Venoms are all right. Tom Hardy really carries those movies, but they're not my favorite. They're okay. There's nothing real wrong with them, but they're not epic or anything. They're not ones I'm putting on all the time. So I don't know. I'll watch part 3, but I'm not super excited over it. Same as Craven the Hunter. Uh, that movie, the trailer did nothing for me again. And Craven the Hunter is a really cool character from the Spider-Man universe. It would have been cool. I heard that Keanu Reeves wanted to play him, but I guess he wasn't like the type of person they were looking for, like the body type or whatever. But that would have been really cool to see him do something other than action movies. But yeah, the trailer made it look pretty mediocre in my opinion. I have a whole list here too of movies, but a lot of these are on here, so I'll just keep going with this IMDb list. A Quiet Place Day One. It says it's in post production, so it's already done filming. There's not much of plot out there. Obviously, it's under wraps, but I think this is like a prequel, like showing how it happened, how the invasion happened. I really liked the first A Quiet Place. Second one I thought was just okay, a little overhyped. Cillian Murphy does a great job in it, but I really like the first one. Hopefully, this one can put them back on track. But I'm not too interested in seeing how it started. I don't know. I don't really think we need to see that, so that's kind of odd. Godzilla X: The New Empire. You see the trend? It's all freaking franchise movies. Of course, like I said, there will be some originals coming out too, but this seems like the year of the franchise, 2024. As for Godzilla and Kong, I've never watched the new MonsterVerse movies. I feel like every time I'm about to, they announce a new one coming out. So I'm like, oh, I'll wait till the next one. I have seen the original from the 50s. I've watched the stupid 99 or whatever that was, the late 90s one from the States. I've seen a couple of them. Godzilla 2000, that one was pretty good. But yeah, I'm not a huge like super fan, but I do enjoy watching those type of films. I heard the new one, Godzilla Minus One, is great, but it never played in my town, so there was no way of watching it. Let's go back to the chat real quick. Okay. Hey Chris, have you thought about what your favorite horror movie is from each decade yet? Are you talking to me? I'm Nick, unless you're talking to someone else in the chat. But yeah, we'll see. Ledger, will you see Deadpool 3 in theaters? Most likely I will with my dad. It's confirmed R-rated. Awesome. It needs to be. Yeah, if I can, I'll go see it. Uh, yeah, I think. Yeah. Hopefully it is. It needs to be. But yeah, I might go see it. I don't go to theaters too often. We have a really small one in my town, and the seats suck. The screen, like it used to be one of the biggest theaters in like the whole area in Canada, but then they split it into 3 small ones, unfortunately. But yeah, I might go see it. We'll see. I'm it's all good. So yeah, my favorite horror movie from each decade. Hmm. Carrie for the 70s. A Nightmare on Elm Street for the 80s, the original. Scream for the 90s. 2000s. I want to say Triangle off the top of my head from 2009. 2010s. That's tough. Maybe Your Next or the Belko Experiment. Those two are really great. I'd have to really think about it, but I know for the 70s, 80s, and 90s, they're locked in the 2000s. So, uh, yeah, there's a little taste of my favorite horror movies from those decades. Okay, Mufasa. Now, this one. Simba, having become king of the Pride Lands, is determined for his cub to follow his paw prints while the origins of his late father Mufasa are explored. I think, yeah, Disney live action. This is continuing off of the last Lion King live action remake we got, and I thought that was terrible. It took all the magic and the heart out of the original, put it into like real life looking animals that can't emote emotions. They can't show you their feelings. They took out all the fun songs and stuff and replaced it with a Beyonce soundtrack. So I'm not a fan of the Lion King live action remake. So I don't have a lot of high hopes for Mufasa. I thought it was coming out in 2025, to be honest. It's probably not even going to be a 2024 movie. Here we go. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. A lot of people are waiting for this one, because the last trilogy we got was possibly the best trilogy we've ever got out of films. It's up there with like Lord of the Rings and the original Star Wars. It's that good. And yeah, this one's going to take place in the future. Many years after the reign of Caesar, a young ape goes on a journey that will lead him to question everything he's been taught about the past and make choices that will define a future for apes and humans alike. So I'm guessing he was like the society in that times has been fed lies about what really happened in the past regarding them and the humans and that. It sounds like it's going to be super interesting, and apparently it's following Matt Reeves' vision of what he had for a fourth film. So that makes me feel good. And one last film before we go to the chat, Mad Max Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. This one I'm really anticipating because Mad Max is a very solid franchise. I love the original, part 2. Part 3, I need to rewatch. The Thunderdome, I think it's called. I seen it on TV when I was younger, but it's been a while and I don't own it. I own every other one. And Fury Road was awesome with Tom Hardy. So I can't wait for this new one. Let's go back to the chat real quick. I'm going to binge the Planet of the Apes movies and attempt to see it in theaters. Nice. Yeah, you don't really need to watch the old ones because this one's just connected to the new trilogy. So save you some time. But the old ones are still worth a watch. For late 60s, early 70s films, they're really well made. Film Kid, my most anticipated movie of next year is Deadpool 3, even though I have not seen the first two. I know that I will love it. So in the horizon, I haven't watched the first two because not able. Yeah, they're pretty strong R-rated movies, dark humor and everything, and like Deadpool like cutting off his hand to get out of handcuffs, stuff like that, But it's hilarious. And then my second movie is Dune Part 2, which was originally supposed to come out on my birthday, but that's fine because it got pushed back. Still have high expectations for that movie. Yeah, I've never watched the original Dune or the part 1 that came out a year or two ago. It's a very long movie. I don't know if I would like them. I don't know. I'd have to give it a shot though. I heard they're beautifully filmed, like they look stunning visually. It's for a ranking. Okay. The Planet of the Apes. Continuing on, we have Despicable Me 4. Never seen any of those movies or the Minions, so I can't give my opinion. Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I heard this was going to release in December, possibly, I think. Maybe earlier. But yeah, I'm kind of excited for this one because the first two were solid. I especially like part 2, adding in Knuckles. I thought that was really cool. It felt more like a Sonic movie where the first one was kind of like a road trip movie, even though it was still good. So yeah, the only thing I'm wondering is there's probably going to be no Jim Carrey. So I think he's ready to retire. So don't know how that's going to work, but we'll see. Transformers 1. That's another franchise I got to get into this year. I literally only watched the very first Transformers a bunch of times, but I never watched any of the other ones. I'm really falling behind. There was even a new one just last year. I'm surprised they're making another one this quick. An origin story set on Cybertron, home of both the Autobots and the Decepticons. Film is said to focus on a relationship between Optimus Prime and Megatron. Sounds interesting, going back to the start before they come to Earth. Sounds cool. Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. Now, I feel like they can never recapture the magic of Lord of the Rings, the trilogy. We've seen that with The Hobbit, where they're forced to use so much CGI nowadays, when back then it was all practical and you got these beautiful landscapes and a compelling story and characters. Hopefully they can do it with this one. It's about the untold story behind Helm's Deep, hundreds of years before the fateful war, telling the life and blood-soaked times of its founder, Helm Hammerhand, the King of Rohan. So I'm thinking it's before the rings and all that, before the big battle for the ring that controlled them all. Interesting. I'll still check it out, but I don't know if it's going to be good or not. It's hard to say with those. And last one before we go to the chat, Joker, Folie à deux. I don't know what to think about this one. It's a sequel to the 2019 Joker movie, which was pretty great, but then they make it a musical. I'm not the biggest fan of musicals, even though I'm a music guy. There's a few I like. Anna and the Apocalypse is a really good one. Tenacious D, if you count that, or South Park the movie, because there's a lot of songs. But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan. So this one, I'm optimistic about it, but I don't know what to really think. I'll do one more. Ballerina, a spin-off from John Wick, and I believe this takes place either at the same time as part 3, John Wick 3, or in between 3 and 4. So apparently Keanu Reeves is going to be in here as John Wick, which is really cool. And I see it also says Lance Reddick and Ian McShane, which is really cool. The stars Ana de Armas, who is really big nowadays, from Cuba. And yeah, you remember the ballerina little school that he goes to in part 3? Apparently has to do with them. A young female assassin seeks revenge against the people who killed her family. Sounds pretty typical, but yeah. Let's go back to the chat real quick. Ooh, tons of chats. 2 wasn't as hard R as the first one, if you know what I mean. Yeah, definitely for Deadpool. Do you think Inception should ever come out with a prequel or sequel? That's tough. I don't know about prequel, but a sequel, I don't know. It kind of ended on the perfect note with the thing spinning, stopping, and like you're not really sure. The little spin thing that he uses to see if he's in the dream or not. Sup, Josh, by the way. But yeah, I don't know. I think you should probably leave it alone as a standalone because it works really well. I can't see them topping the original ever. It's one of the Nolan's best. And the reason why you were about to see Letterboxd me diving into movies like Casino and Shutter Island and potentially Wolf of Wall Street, I got VidAngel. Nice. Yeah, Shutter Island is a really great one. I love that one. Casino, been a long time since I've seen that with Joe Pesci. He's awesome in that. But yeah, right on. Transformer 1 is also an animated movie. Oh, I did not know that. Thanks for the heads up. I thought it was just a continuation, maybe of the, oh, not continuation. It's obviously a prequel, but I thought it was going off of the new one. But okay. I know you didn't rank these yet, but what do you think of the worst Pixar movie? Ooh, the worst. Off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of them all. There's like 20 some now. I know I really don't like Cars 2. That's probably one of my worst. Off the top of my head, it's probably that, but unless I'm missing one. Yeah, I'd say Cars 2 right now, just off the top of my head. But yeah, it's been a while since I watched all the Pixar movies. I just watched Elemental a couple weeks ago, and I thought it was pretty great. I believe they were saying that Jim Carrey's character was killed in The Fall. Makes sense. but I'm just interested to see what villain they're gonna come up with next. I hate that we're getting another Transformer movie because it means I have to rewatch the franchise. Yeah, I hear the later sequels are pretty rough. Rise of the Beast Transformers was pretty good. Yeah, I gotta check that out. Yo! That's what I'm thinking about Inception 2. And I'm pretty sure the new Lord of the Rings movie is supposed to be anime, but it also may be animated. Oh, I didn't know that either. That really changes things. Turning Red is by far the worst by far. Yeah, I didn't care for that one either. That would give Cars 2 good competition, both of them. Yep. Um, Obviously, I'm not the demographic for Turning Red, but still. Oh, this is one I'm kind of excited for. Terrifier 3. Definitely one that your parents probably won't let you watch because these movies are so over the top and gory. Like people getting sawed in half and they show you everything. It is just so crazy. And the way part 2 ended, I liked part 2. It had a great final girl and everything, but it left you with more questions than answers. And I'm hoping part 3 gives us those answers. According to the director, it will. And the reason why these movies are so good at their practical effects is because the director is a practical effects artist. So he knows what he's doing. He doesn't fill it with CGI or nothing. So that's why these movies are standing the test of time. They're getting so popular. And this one is taking place on Christmas. So that is even more interesting. You see him with Santa's face around his neck. Oof. Here it is. This is the one I was talking about. Alien Romulus. And it's already filmed. It's in post-production, so it's definitely coming out this year. But it's crazy we never heard too much about it. Fede Alvarez is directing, which, he did Evil Dead, the reboot or whatever you want to call it in 2013. So he did a good job at that. Young people from a distant world must face the most terrifying life form in the universe. Sounds like an alien movie. I'm excited. Another one I'm excited for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Afterlife was such an awesome movie. I didn't expect it to be that good, with all these legacy sequels or whatever you want to call them, but they really did it justice. And yeah, it was really heartwarming in the final act. And it was just a fun movie overall. So I am excited for Frozen Empire. When the discovery of an ancient artifact unleashes an evil force, Ghostbusters, new and old, must join forces to protect their home and save the world from a second ice age. So, new and old, it sounds like the original cast might be still in this a bit. Interesting. They're not in the main stars, though, so I don't think they're going to be in it much. Paul Rudd's back, though. That's cool. Bad Boys 4. Yeah, Bad Boys. The first two were fun. I never got around to seeing the third one. Definitely gonna have to get on that, but might as well wait till this one comes out. um, Kung Fu Panda 4, another one. Never seen any of the movies. Jack Black is a great actor, great voice actor. So I'm sure they're a lot of fun. I hear good things, but just never got around to it. Untitled Karate Kid movie, probably not gonna be coming out in 2024. It's not even filmed yet, so yeah, never even heard of it yet. Same as Scream 7. With all the problems they've been having, they never got the film yet. They lost their director. They lost two of their main cast members. It's not looking good for Scream 7. Huge fan of Scream, but I'd rather them sit on it a bit than to release a really crappy movie out of nowhere. Paddington in Peru. This is funny because I hear so many good things about Paddington, the first two Paddington movies, especially part 2. Like some people saying it's one of the greatest movies of all time. It's got me interested. I've never seen them, but definitely got me interested. I'm gonna have to get on that bandwagon, and I'll be able to rank them once part 3 comes out. Abigail, I don't know what this is. It says it's from Universal Monsters. Hmm. Now that is kind of an original, I guess. The directors are the two who made Scream 5 and 6, which is interesting enough. After a group of criminals kidnap the ballerina daughter of a powerful underworld figure, they retreat to an isolated mansion, unaware that they are locked inside with no normal little girl. Obviously, she must be one of the Universal monsters, but I have no idea about anything about that movie. Never even heard of it. Abigail. Hmm. Let's go back to the chat real quick. Who do you think is Sylvester Stallone's best performance, or what do you think? First Blood Part 1. Yeah. Or it's hard, man. Rocky. Yeah, it's tough. I might have to go with Rocky on that one, but that and First Blood, the first one, are very tight. I just love the ending of First Blood when, he just lets it all out. His emotions run wild and his traumas getting to him. It's so good. I recently rewatched the first time all of Christopher Nolan's films and released my ranking. Did you check it out? I might have. I actually watched a few not that long ago. I just can't remember. I'll check after the stream if I watched yours or not. If I didn't, I'll definitely check it out. Rocky or First Blood? Yeah. Ledger's same thing. Josh says First Blood. Yeah, it's tough between those two. After seeing the trailer for Terrifier 3, I can now say Art the Clown is a monster. Yep. Scream 7 is still coming out. Yeah, I doubt in 2024. It's definitely going to be pushed back. Yeah, that's what I hear about the Paddington movies. They sound great. Abigail was a movie where Melissa Barrero, who got just left Scream or got kicked off Scream, plays Dracula's daughter and a kidnapper kidnap her and realize they really messed up. Ooh, now that does sound interesting. So she's Dracula's daughter. Wow. Isn't Abigail some name out of hell or a demon? I guess it's Dracula's daughter. Why haven't you released your Rambo ranking? I never got around to it. I'm doing Mission Impossible right now. I'm almost done that. On Rogue Nation. I'm going to try to watch that tonight, and I'll definitely have it out by this weekend for sure. Who's your favorite rock band of the 2000s? Oof. You're making me think too hard on this one. Megadeth is my favorite band of all time, but they came out in the 80s, but they're still going. Damn, too tough, man. I really have a hard time choosing what my favorite bands are. I'm a big metal guy, though. I released a Predator ranking finally. Yeah, I did see that. I seen your thumbnail of it when I was working on this. Another one I'm going to check out right after this video. Tool. Tool has some good songs for sure. I've just been checking them out recently. But really, they're a 90s band. I don't know if he meant coming like music of the 2000s or did the band have to come out in the 2000s? Because if that's the case, if it's just music of the 2000s, I was in a lot of metalcore at that time. Going to finish up Wes Anderson this weekend, release a ranking for him, and then go on a Damien Chazelle. And then after him, I'm going to do Jordan Peele. Ooh, lots of good ones. If Dracula isn't played by Nicolas Cage, then I'm not interested. You're right. He did such a good job in Renfield. Even though I watch franchises all the time, there's still a ton I haven't seen. Hellboy, The Crooked Man. It's filming right now. I don't know if that must be an animated film too, right? Because I never really heard anything about it. If it's live action, that's going to be kind of out of nowhere. I can't see it come out in 2024. They're filming right now. Maybe by the end of the year, but it'll probably be 2025. The First Omen, obviously part of the Omen franchise. Never seen them. Saw 11. I'm excited for this. It already has a date. It's not even filmed yet, and I think September 27th is when it's supposed to come out. Saw X was awesome. Put the franchise back on track, so give me more. I don't know where this is going to fall in the timeline. It'll probably take place in between Saw 10 and Saw 2, which is really weird for the timeline, but they're fun. Maxine with 3 X's. This is from the X and Pearl franchise. X was so overhyped. Good throwback to 70s horror, but wasn't a fan of it, to be honest. Nice, cool little slasher, but didn't impress me as much as most people. But Pearl, Pearl really did impress me with Mia Goth's performance. She was amazing in that. She really stole the show. So I'll still watch Maxine since Pearl was so good. But yeah, maybe I'll have to revisit X. But I just found it too overhyped. And lastly on this list is Dune Part 2. Kind of talked about this a little bit earlier. Never seen the first part, but yeah, I hear good things. I heard it's visually stunning. I'm just not sure if I'm going to be into that type of movie, especially when they're like close to like 3 hours long or something each one. It's a big story, right? But we'll see. It could be a band who formed or rose to prominence in the 2000s. Like I said, man, it is so tough. I love so many bands from that era. Protest the Hero, All That Remains. But I even like rock bands like White Stripes. And like it is tough for me. I always have a hard time. I have an easier time picking movies than I do music for my favorite. Renfield is slightly overrated, in my opinion, just because I felt like it didn't have much plot. That's fair. I just had such a blast watching it. Real quickly, can you give me your ranking of Hellboy films? For me, it's 2019, the sequel, and the first movie in first place. Yeah, definitely 2019 in last place. That movie was so convoluted and had 1,000 storylines, and none of them were good. Part two or part one, I really loved the original. I remember when that came out, I was really big into it. But part two is really good too. I'd have to rewatch those. It's between one and two. Right now, I'll say one is my favorite because I watched it so much more. John Rambo or Last Blood. I really go back and forth on these two, Ledger. When I rewatch them, I'll let you know. I'm gonna rewatch them right after Mission Impossible. So, sup, Chris from the movie Misfits? Glad to see you. I meant to say two was my favorite. Okay, two was your favorite. Yeah, it's tough. Two is the fan favorite for sure when you're watching most rankings. I remember really enjoying it. So it's just been a while since I watched it. Like the Golden Army, I think it's called. But yeah, I own the first one. I actually own the second one on DVD. It was given to me. So yeah, I'm gonna have to watch those soon and rank them. But yeah, there's a new one coming out. You guys should find out if it's animated or not. Yeah, that dude, the list is stacked for our big ranking. It especially adding these Mission Impossibles to the list. It's like holy shit. The top 10 are all amazing action movies, like really good. I actually really enjoyed Last Blood. Yeah, me too, Chris. A lot of people don't like it, but I thought it was a lot of fun, especially that final act when he goes all home alone on them with all the traps. So cool. He kind of does traps like that in the first movie. It says that this one they kind of go all out with it and you actually get the gore and stuff. And at the ending, it was like a Mortal Kombat move when he holds up the bad guy's heart. So fun. It did seem a lot like Taken though, but that was unfortunate because he wrote it back when before Taken came out. What's your pick for a bad movie with a good sequel? That's tough because usually originals are better than the sequels. Bad movie with a good sequel. That's tough. David Fincher movie for me, it's Seven because that's my favorite movie of all time. Social Network is a close second. Still need to check out Zodiac. Yeah, Seven. I'd say Seven as well. I don't know if I watched all of his films though. I never seen Social Network, so I haven't, I guess. But yeah, Last Blood is criminally underrated. Yeah, it gets shit on so much. I think this is because you're comparing it to Taken, and because Rambo, the fourth movie, had such a good ending. It may have been received better if it took place before Rambo, but it is what it is. But yeah, I do think it's underrated. People shit on it way too much. Yeah, really solid. A lot of emotion in it too. Yeah, one of the six. Yeah. So that's it for that list. Um, I'll go a little longer on the stream, and then I have to head out soon. But yeah, like I said, I've been showing you guys all these movies that's been coming out, and it's mostly franchise movies. What's your pick for a movie franchise with only one good movie? What, like Anaconda, Lake Placid? Those franchises only got one good movie. Um, look, that's tough. It's definitely tough to think of off the top of your head. But yeah, those two are definitely in the running for only one good movie. Okay, why Butterfly Effect is my favorite movie and Shaun of the Dead is my second. Okay, so Butterfly Effect, I seen it when it came out, knew nothing about it, went in blind, and it completely blew me away. And it still blows me away to this day. It's a time travel movie that deals with a lot of dark subject matter. That a lot of people have to deal with, deals with a lot of trauma and stuff, and it's Ashton Kutcher's best performance easily of all time. He does a great job, and I just like how the storyline just keeps changing. He goes to the past to try to fix an event, which ends up changing the future, but there's always something that happens in the future that's not right. So he always has to go back. Sometimes it's his life that's not right, sometimes it's the people around him. So it's just a really interesting movie. I love time travel, and I like the way this one does it. How every time he goes back, if you just change something small in the past, it will affect the future. And the way the movie starts, like the first act, is just a bunch of blackouts, and you're not sure what's going on, and you find out those are all the times that he's going in the past. And it's just such a brilliant movie. You definitely have to watch it. It's just so good. And as for Shaun of the Dead, it's if we're talking if it's considered a horror movie, obviously it's a horror comedy. It's my favorite horror movie of all time, but I don't like to say that when people ask me horror movies because it's a part comedy too. But if I'm allowed to say it, it is my favorite horror. So that would have been my answer for the 2000s, I guess. Um, but yeah, it's just so funny. Well, you guys have been watching Mission Impossible, right? So Simon Pegg is the main one in Shaun of the Dead, and all the little funny moments that he has in Mission Impossible are turned up to 11 in Shaun of the Dead. It's hilarious. It's a different take on the zombie movie. They're not using guns or nothing. It's all blunt weapons. It still has the gore and the horror elements. It's not a parody, and I also love it for that. So it gives you everything you want. It has a great soundtrack. We get that great Kiss song playing while they're at the bar fighting the zombies. It's hilarious. I love the characters. So yeah, that's why I love Shaun of the Dead and Butterfly Effect. Both those movies are 10 out of 10s to me. Easy, any day of the week. Bad movie with a good sequel, Annabelle. That is a good answer. That is a good answer. I never thought about that one. See, it's hard to think on the spot like that. Fan of the band Korn. If you are, what's your favorite song? Of course. Favorite song. I love Blind. Here to Stay. Maybe my favorite. Of course, Freak on a Leash is awesome. I haven't listened to a lot of their new stuff. I like stopped after like Coming Undone and all those songs around like 2000, I don't know, 7, 8, I want to say. But yeah, I'm a fan of Korn for sure. I remember seeing the music video for Blind back in the 90s, like way when I was young, like 6 or 7, being like, who are these guys? And they just had a totally unique style that no one really ever copied. Like they may have invented new metal, but they did it so different. So yeah, I do like Korn. What's your favorite Jim Carrey comedy? For me, it's Dumb and Dumber. Oof. Dumb and Dumber, The Mask, Ace Ventura, 2, When Nature Calls. I love that movie. Those would be my 3. My favorite, maybe Ace Ventura 2, just because I have a lot of nostalgia for it. I find it so funny, especially when he's running through the jungle and getting hit by darts. And every moment in that film makes me laugh. So, but for a darker side of Jim Carrey, check out the number 23, a very cool number where he goes crazy thinking about that number and he sees it everywhere. And it's really cool. It's very something different. It's one of the first movies Jim Carrey did that wasn't a comedy. It was like really dark. So that was really cool. For me, this is kind of funny, but I've only knocked out 2 franchises in the big ranking, and I keep telling myself you have to keep going, but then you have to watch this movie and this movie. Yeah, you'll get there. we work better under pressure sometimes. I know I do. When it's last minute, I'll just watch everything. Also, can you start writing reviews on Letterboxd again? I really like it when you write reviews. Yeah, it's been a long time. I remember I was last ones I made like consistently was for the Bond movies when I was going through the 60s and 70s. Yeah, I have to get back into that. That's true. What do you think is The Rock's best movie? Their best movie. That's tough. The Rundown is a really cool little movie that not a lot of people know about with Sean William Scott. It's hilarious. I love that movie, but his best. I don't know. I'd have to. I'm gonna look up a list of his movies. Just give me a sec. And we'll take a look at them. Oh, I like Jumanji. That's pretty cool too. Dwayne Johnson. Did not like Skyscraper. Red Notice was okay. Rampage was kind of fun. Pain and Gain. That's a hilarious one. Central Intelligence was funny. Walking Tall was good. See The Rundown right here. That's one of my favorites. I don't know if it's his best though. Definitely not Black Adam. The Doom is a really fun one if you want to see him as a villain. Yeah, man. My personal favorite is probably The Rundown. Even though Fighting with My Family is not a main character, that's an awesome movie. You really got to watch it with Florence Pugh. But yeah, my answer would probably be The Rundown. I know it's a weird answer, but that movie is hilarious. Tarantino movies. Um, Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. Those are my top ones from him. I'm not a diehard Tarantino fan like a lot of people. I think he wrote From Dusk Till Dawn. He's awesome in that, and he acts in it. He's a crazy person in that one. He didn't direct it though. That's Robert Rodriguez, I believe. So yeah, those are my three favorite. An awesome film like Thunderball given 2 star, but a really bad film like It Chapter 2 given 2.5, right? It Chapter 2 was pointless. Yeah, we seen them as adults, but then they just go through the same stuff we seen in the first movie, and it's even worse than before. Like in the old miniseries from 1990, everybody hated the adult part. They said it was the weaker section, but I think even the 1990 miniseries did it better than the It Chapter 2. So yeah, I don't even own it. I own Chapter 1 and I'm fine with that. Hobbs and Shaw is great. It's a fun one. Not my favorite of The Rock, but it definitely is a fun Taco Bell type film. Let me go through my own personal list that I made real quick before I go. See if I have any more movies on here that I want to talk about before I go. Twisters. That's kind of weird. It's a sequel to the movie Twister from the 90s with what's his name? Bill Paxton, one of the greatest actors. Yeah, he was in the first one, but it's kind of weird they're making a sequel to that. First one's good though. Beetlejuice 2. That's one I'm really excited for. Michael Keaton coming back. That's one of my favorite roles of his. He I grew up with the first one. The first one was really freaky as a kid. I mean, it's kind of laughable now going back, but I love Beetlejuice, and I'm interested to see what they're going to do with the sequel, especially bringing back a lot of the characters. That's pretty cool. Good movie with a bad ending. Off the top of my head, the first thing I thought of was Planet of the Apes from like 2003, the one with Mark Wahlberg. I thought that's a pretty good movie, but the ending is so stupid, man. But yeah, I'm sure there's more than that. That was just the first thing I thought of because I ranked those not long ago. Yeah, the first movie is phenomenal. Yeah, Scream is in my top 3 horror. It would be my number 3 after Shaun of the Dead and A Nightmare on Elm Street, the original. Yeah, my physical collection, I have it written down right here. It's gonna be within the next week or 2. I just gotta figure out a system to have all my movies to show because I have 800 or so at this point, so it's tough, but I'm definitely gonna do it. It's gonna be a long video, but it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna do them in alphabetical order, so behind me is only horror. So I'm gonna have to mix those with across the room, I have all my non-horror, and up at the top, there's all my franchises, so yeah, I'm gonna have to do some sorting, but it is coming hopefully before the end of the month. Well, it should be. Maybe this weekend, I'll plan it out. But yeah, that's definitely going to be a hard one. But I definitely want to show off my collection. What's your two favorite Indiana Jones movies, and what's your favorite actor? Still haven't seen the new one, but my two favorite are the two first ones. I really love Temple of Doom, especially. What's your favorite actor? I have a lot. Of all time, I love Kurt Russell. I love Stallone. You know, the classics from the 80s. I grew up watching all those films so that they were in. So yeah, maybe those. It's tough. Scream 4 didn't have a good ending in your opinion? Yeah, with Jill in the hospital. I can see that. A live stream. Actually, that's a good idea, Film Kid. That is a really good idea. I might actually do that. It might be easier for me too. Um, yeah. The only thing is, if I go too long, I think StreamYard, this program, I think since it's free, I'm using a free version. That's why I got that stupid logo. I can only record for so long or stream for so many minutes. So I have to find out the time on that. But if I can go longer than I think, I'll definitely do it live. Excuse me. Do you write your videos? Because I kind of just go free thoughts. Or do I just go through thought? It depends. If it's something I never watched before, sometimes I take notes. But if it's like when I did Friday the 13th or anything like that, it's just off the top of my head. So it all depends. Like if it's a franchise I'm not familiar with at all and it's a first time watch, and then there's a lot of movies, I don't want to forget about little things. So I'll take little notes and I'll look at the notes before I talk because sometimes you go to a movie, you're like, what was that about again? What's your favorite genre? It has to be horror. And the reason for that is there's so many subgenres. If you like action, you can have horror action movies like Resident Evil or Underworld. If you like horror comedies, there's like Shaun of the Dead or movies like that. You know, if you want slashers, if you want, and they're never afraid to push the envelope. They usually use practical effects for the most part. I mean, and it's a genre that will never die. It's probably one of the oldest genres. I mean, look at Frankenstein and all those movies like Nosferatu from like 1912 or whenever that came out way back then. It's one of the oldest genres ever, and it will never die. It's still going strong. Where I feel comedies really went off the deep end after the 2000s. We stopped getting them because everybody's offended. Action movies, we do get some good ones. They're starting to make a revival, I feel, with like John Wick and all that, but they have their ups and downs, of course. Of course, the horror had that too in the 90s. It wasn't real big except for when Scream came out. But yeah, that's my favorite genre. I really love comedies though too, but we just don't get them anymore. So do you go buy and stuff on physical media? I never rent digitally. I've never have. I don't think I ever will. Um, because I think it's because I grew up in a time where we went to the video store and rented movies on our own. So I like to actually hold it. So I'll stream it or I'll find a way to watch it if it's on YouTube or whatever, and if I like it, or I'll go in blind and just buy it if it's cheap enough. But yeah, if it's a franchise I really like, I'll just go buy it. But yeah, and where I buy it anywhere, Walmart, Amazon. In my town, we don't have much for physical media, so if I go to a big city or if I travel, if I go to like drive to Montreal or somewhere, I'll definitely hit up their movie places and walk away with like $300 worth of movies. The Spy Who Loved Me. Just kidding. Um, yeah, I haven't watched them all, so I haven't even made it to the Daniel Craig movies yet, so I can't even give you an opinion on the new ones. I love Goldfinger. I do love The Spy Who Loved Me. I thought that was up there with Goldfinger, so those are my two favorite as of now. So yeah, I thought it was real fun watching The Man with the Golden Gun. It's not the best movie, but I really like what's his name in it. Mine always goes blank when I'm on these. Uh, hey, what's up? The View with Drew. What's going on? What do you think is the worst comedy movie? Going Overboard. Going Overboard by Adam Sandler. His first movie. It is god awful. God awful. I remember getting that for like Christmas or something when I was younger, and terrible. Yet horror has the worst sequels. True, because they're the cheapest to make. So once you make a good movie, everybody wants to make a sequel to try to make money off of it. That is absolutely correct, Ledger. Bob Marley, One Love is your most anticipated. Cool. Is that like a documentary or like a biopic? Maybe it's like a biopic like The Dirt with Motley Crue and all that. That'd be really cool. I'd watch that. We've been getting a lot of those the last 10 years, with like Elvis and with Bohemian Rhapsody. It's kind of cool when they do it right. Why is Commando rated a 2.5 on Letterbox? I don't know. People don't know how to rate fun movies. Commando is just hilarious. It has the most one-liners I've ever seen in a movie. Just the things that happens, like he rips the door off the car, and it's ridiculously fun. You don't take it seriously though. I think that's what everybody's doing. They're taking it too serious. That's why they're rating it bad. How much was the Friday the 13th box set? And what you did with Texas Chainsaw Massacre video where you have the full screen? Oh, that's probably because my camera keeps changing its settings, if that's what you're talking about. But I'm not too sure. I have to go back and check that video. But my Friday the 13th box set, when I bought it, I think it was like 100, like $20 or something. I'm not too sure. I pre-ordered it, but you get the first 4 movies transferred in 4K, which is nice, and they're all Blu-ray, and it comes with like bonus features. So yeah, it probably went up in price now, but at the time it was 100 and some. Keep, watch, burn. Keep, watch, burn in that order. Yeah. Well, Son of the Mask. Ugh, they're all terrible. I guess I'll keep The Predator. Son of the Mask, I barely remember it. I know Jamie Kennedy from Scream's in it, but that and Winnie the Pooh are probably tied. They're both terrible movies. Son of the Mask is known as one of the worst sequels. What do you think is the worst Ninja Turtles movie? Part 3. Part 3 is pretty bad. Definitely some lowbrow stuff. Yeah, probably Part 3. I'm not a big fan of the Michael Bay ones either, though. The ones he produced. They're way too flashy. The new one was fun, though. Mutant Mayhem. Dude, I would think the worst horror movie sequel. It's hard to say off the top of my head. Like I said, you're throwing big questions at me. Jaws 4 definitely has their name in there. Jaws 4, Jeepers Creepers Reborn, just to name a few off the top of my head. Those are god awful. It has to be some of the worst. It's a biopic. Cool. I'll definitely check that one out. Scariest movie I've ever seen. No, that's fine, man. Everybody gets scared over different things. Insidious definitely had some creepy moments in it. Scariest movie I've ever seen. Back in when I was younger, definitely Blair Witch Project definitely freaked me out. Hard time to go in the woods after that, and especially since I watched it on VHS. And at the time, there was internet wasn't a big thing. Nobody knew it was fake. We all thought it was real. So that shit was scary, man. Funny enough, The Fourth Kind movie from 2007 really got to me. movie about alien abductions, just because it felt so real. Uh, uh, Mila Jokovic is in that film, so yeah, it's tough. When I was a kid, Evil Dead scared the shit out of me. The very first one, the girl coming out of the cellar, very creepy. What's your favorite performance in a music biopic? I think Rami Malek, Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah, dude, he nailed it. He really, it's probably the best, to be honest. Uh, yeah, definitely of the last 10 years, I think he did nail it. Um, yeah, especially just talking about performance wise. I just wish Bohemian Rhapsody, I wish we would have got more movies, or, it would have expanded a little more on the story. It kind of skipped past a few things a little too quickly. Son of the Mask, some of the worst CGI. I bet. Like I said, I haven't seen it since it came out, and I was like, "What is this?" Dark Knight or Across the Spider Verse? As of now, I'll say the Dark Knight. It's because I've seen it so much more times, and it's an older film. And Across the Spider Verse is still very fresh. But dude, I loved Across the Spider Verse. So good. The animation was wild. Hot take: Mutant Mayhem is the best TMNT movie. You know what? I can see that. A lot of people have so much nostalgia for the very first live action one from 1990. Me, my personal Ninja Turtle, my favorite version of him is the TV series from the late 80s. I grew up with that. I had volume one, so it was like the first 3 or 4 episodes on a VHS put together. And I never even knew there was more episodes. That was just like a part of the first season. And I loved it. I rewatched the shit out of that. The theme song is so good. It's still the best theme song they ever did. So that's my favorite version of the characters. But yeah, Mutant Mayhem may be the best movie. It's true. But I forget if there was some like knockoff movie where they showed this group of people getting kidnapped, but I'm not 100% they made the actors basically completely disappear for 6 months to make the experience real, freak people out. And the director went to jail. Yeah. Yeah, that wasn't Blair Witch. The Blair Witch, they didn't the actors didn't really know what was going on. They wouldn't give them the script until like they made it to a certain location, and just give them pieces of it to make it feel more realistic. But yeah, they weren't kidnapped or nothing. So I don't know what movie you're talking about, but it sounds crazy. Army of Darkness is awesome. I grew up watching that. That was my first Evil Dead, so a lot of nostalgia for it. That's a great horror comedy. A lot of people don't like the fantasy aspects of it, but I love it. All the skeleton army and everything. It's so cool. Oh, best horror movie that takes place during any holiday. Halloween is an easy pick, but Black Christmas is also amazing. I also love My Bloody Valentine because it's a movie that came out. It's like one of the only movies that's filmed around me. Like, and it's still like 4 or 5 hours away, like 4 hours away from where I live in the Maritimes here, Atlantic Canada. It's tough. Definitely between those three. Um, if I had to just pick one, I'd say Black Christmas. I'd go on a limb instead of saying Halloween. Everybody picks Halloween. I love Joaquin Phoenix as Johnny Cash and Walk the Line. Yeah, he is awesome. That's true. I forgot all about Walk the Line because it's an older one, older compared to the newer ones we got. That's true. He did do an amazing job. Him and was it Reese Witherspoon? I think playing the girl. She was great too. I also like Walk Hard, the comedy, the parody of that, which is hilarious. With John C. Riley. Favorite animated movie, and I can say for each one of us, YouTuber kids video, a lot more views than normal videos. Um, my favorite animated movie of all time, Toy Story. My second favorite, Lion King. Those are my top two. Absolutely love them both. But we're about to reach the hour mark, guys, and I want to try to go watch Mission Impossible Rogue Nation before the end of the night. It's 7:30 on my time. I'm Atlantic time. There is time after Eastern time, folks, if you go farther in the east. So that's all I got for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We had a fun little discussion. I talked about most of the movies I wanted to talk about. Um, Smile 2 is another movie about to come out, but I think that might be in 2025 or whatever. We're not hearing a lot about Smile. So the first one was okay though. We got a trilogy of the Strangers movie come out. Doesn't look good, the photos we got. And lastly, Gladiator 2, which seemed to come out of nowhere. The first one had Joaquin Phoenix in it, which we just talked about. And yeah, I was not expecting a sequel to that. So that's going to be interesting. I feel like I have to go back and watch the original because it's been a long time. It was a good movie though. And yeah, I think I named everything. Um, Inside Out 2, another animated film. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my list. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a good one. You have a good one as well, Film Kid. And I'm going to head on over before I watch Rogue Nation and watch yours and Ledger Forever's rankings you guys just put out recently. Sup, Austin? SCP Unleashed. What's going on? I was just about to head out. You just missed me. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll be back with Mission Impossible ranking next. So I should be out very soon. And I will put out my collection video very soon as well. So hope you guys have a good night and see you later.